Welcome back to Metal Gear Solid 2, folks. We've met up with Snake, we've got our gear back, and we have been spotted by an entire host of Arsenal Tengu soldiers. So it is time for probably like the biggest battle that we've been in so far by quite a long way. Luckily we can pretty much do what we like in terms of ammo and aiming because Snake has the infinite ammo bandana and will basically replenish us whenever we need it. So that's very useful. If you're going on a no kills run, this section can be a bit of a pain because obviously your M9's pretty slow, but the M4 not so slow whatsoever and a lot more bloody. I'll tell you what, we've been given the high frequency blade, so it would be rude not to use it if Snake doesn't go rudely killing everyone before we get a chance. And as you can see, the sort of stabbing and thrusting of the blade is really, really lethal. Although, you do have to get a little close for comfort sometimes to use it properly. But it's pretty badass. Let's just heal up, don't want to die. Take that. And obviously anyone who's played Rising will see that the seed was really planted for Raiden in that game at this section in terms of his abilities and weapon preferences. I'll say no more in case you're sort of keeping yourself in the dark about the future events in the series, but yeah, let's just say I did mention that Raiden gets a lot more badass as the game goes on, as the series goes on, and at this section this is really where that starts to become apparent. Like, Raiden is pretty much kicking all kinds of ass here with his high frequency blade. Now what's Otcon got for us? He said he was going to look into the Colonel.
This Colonel of yours. I found out where he is. Where? Inside Arsenal.
What?
What?
Well said, Raiden.
All the possibilities, but I keep coming back to Arsenal. It isn't a relay point, it's the origin of the signal. And the encryption protocol it uses is exactly the same as that of Arsenal's AI, the so-called GW.
What the hell does this mean?
I think it means you've been talking to an AI.
What?
That's impossible.
The Colonel probably isn't GW per se. GW was most likely stimulating cortical activity in the dormant part of your brain through signal manipulation of your own nanomachines. The Colonel is, in part, your own creation, cobbled together from expectations and experience.
That's crazy.
But it's probably the truth. The virus may be starting to affect GW, which would explain the Colonel's behavior.
It was all an illusion? Everything I've done so far?
Raiden,
Snake, what's happening around here?
I don't know. What I do know is that you're standing right here in front of me. Not an illusion. Flesh and blood.
Huh?
It's your call. You can drop this if you want.
No, I can't do that. Let's go.
So the whole time we've not been speaking to Campbell, we've been speaking to an AI sort of fabrication inside our brain. And here comes the fabrication to have a chat with us. Christ.
Raiden, they've got Rose.
What?
Rose is being held in the holds.
It's a trap.
Rose!
Raiden, get a grip.
But Snake...
It's a trap. Since the Colonel doesn't exist, there's no way he can take Rose hostage.
Yeah, you're right.
I am right.
Okay. Does Rose exist?
Don't be weird. She's your...
What if I've never really met her?
What?
If the Colonel is something that I partly dreamt up, then everything I remember about her could be...
Don't jump to conclusions.
You and Otacon are the ones that say the Colonel never existed.
Raiden.
Is this what Olga was talking about?
Now remember, very early in the game, Mr. X said to us something like, I can't remember the exact quote, it was something like, you had no choice but to believe what you were presented was real, or something like that. And that is just pretty much what this whole game has evolved into, like this massive sort of almost philosophical sort of analysis of how you know things and what information you acquire and how you actually learn things. And Emma mentioned it as well with the Patriots and their manipulation of information. They can release reports and things, and you'll just take it as given. Now, if we head in here... More Tengu soldiers. And at long last we stand side by side with Snake for some badass action. Now, in terms of the Colonel, I think it was a really good plot twist, but I think replaying the game, you do notice that the Colonel actually throughout is quite badly characterised, I would argue, and like it does make sense once you get to this bit and you realise that he was an AI. But I do think that they maybe went a little far with it in terms of throughout the game, because if you watched, I didn't really want to draw attention to it at the time, but the Colonel's just like this really boring character. I always mentioned how he was really unsympathetic, and I think that is a reflection of the AI. And when you look at the game as a whole, it does make sense, but at the time, when you're none the wiser, and here the game tries to trick us again by saying fish and mailed and making us think we're dead. But yeah, when you look at the game as a whole, it does make sense and it's sort of well done. But at the time, when you've got no idea that he's this AI, it does arguably just like make it look like the Colonel's a badly written character. Especially because like MGS1, you've got to remember the Colonel is really like best friends with Snake virtually. And the fact that they never interacted once he realised it was Snake and he sort of showed no emotion, it makes sense now, don't get me wrong, but at the time when you don't know that, it's almost disappointing the way they handled it. So it was quite a sort of brave option of them to go down that route of having the Colonel as this sort of AI character, having obviously had him in the first game. But I think what it does well is it plays on not just Raiden's expectations of the Colonel, but your own, because it sort of goes a bit meta and it knows that you've probably played Metal Gear Solid 1 and you have expectations of the Colonel as sort of the mission commander. He's going to be telling you what to do, and also if you remember in Metal Gear Solid 1, Raiden has done the VR training for Shadow Moses, and the Colonel did sort of withhold information from Snake and was perhaps a little reticent at times. So the expectation of the Colonel is sort of almost parodied by the AI in this sort of really interesting way that fools the player as well as Raiden, because you don't really question his sort of detached military commanding attitude, which I think is really interesting. And look who's back, it's Fortune. And she's been crying by the looks of it.
It's been a long wait, Solid Snake. The root of all my sorrows.
What?
2 years ago, you killed my father. That was the beginning of hell for us. Everyone I love has been taken from me one by one, and no matter how hard I try, I can't follow them.
Hope she wasn't friends with any of these soldiers or she's going to be pissed.
The only thing we live for is to see it end. Our wait is almost over.
You can't be serious about firing the nuke.
Since no one can kill me, I may as well kill everyone I can.
That is some twisted logic.
Starting you, sucks.
Damn! Looks like I'm today's pick. You go on ahead.
Snake is such a badass.
Eternal rest. I've got it right here.
What are you gonna do? Bullets can't get near her.
I'll think of something. There's no such thing as a witch.
You think you can kill me?
If anyone can love it, Solid Snake.
I know what your group's been through, but let's get one thing clear. I didn't kill your father.
Do you think anyone believes your lies?
Raiden, get out of here!
Go on, Snake! Now, I can't remember if it's actually explained to us yet who Fortune's father is, or if it's in a codec conversation. If it's not been explained in the next sort of couple of videos or so, I will tell you and explain why she thinks Snake killed her father. I'm pretty sure it's been in a cutscene, but I'm not sure if I've really picked up on it and sort of pointed it out, so yeah, we'll go over that by the end of the game, don't worry. What sort of crazy area are we in now?
It looks like you've remembered the way you used to kill in the old days. Or is it one of the S3 plan's proud achievements?
What are you talking about?
It came as a complete surprise when Ocelot discovered the S3 data from GW. Not a bad idea, though. Using fire to fight fire, creating the perfect assassin to retire Solid Snake's brother. S3 stands for Solid Snake Simulation. It's a development program to artificially reproduce Solid Snake, the perfect warrior. The result is a Foxhound Commando. When Foxhound no longer exists, a simulated Solid Snake shaped by VR regimen. Sound like someone you know, Jack? I'm sorry to see you reduced to one of the Patriots' puppets. But I've made use of you, and their plan too.
Where is his voice coming from?
Solid Snake's sudden appearance, your arrival. It was obvious the Patriots were among my ranks. I had to smoke out the agent before the mission entered the final phase. You came in handy, as bait. Jack, those days during the Civil War were as real as they come. Every day was absolute. Split between life and death. You ran from it, and now you've been led back to war by something less than real.
So this whole event has been orchestrated to turn Raiden into the next Solid Snake?
No more games, Jack. At least you know. There's no reason to keep you alive now.
You just try and stop me, you one-eyed bastard. Oh. Yeah, fair enough. That's... if anything's gonna work, that'll do it.
At least. But now, you should die as the little Jackie boy I once knew.
Holy shit, it's an army of Metal Gears. Well folks, in the next video we will do battle with an entire army of Metal Gear Rays. I will see you next time.